Hey guys, Jeff Schulte here with Phantom Lures. Today talking about our Softail glide baits. You know, a lot of people get confused with the difference between glide baits or jerk baits. Is there a difference? There definitely is. What that means is as you work it with the rod, it's going to continuously glide as compared to a jerk bait, which is going to be a little bit more deliberate, a little bit more start and stop. It's a phenomenal bait for a lot of different conditions. Warm water, cold water. You can fish it fast, you can fish it slow, you can run it super erratic or a really consistent cadence. With these baits here, we've also added the Softail. So you've always got movement within that bait. That tail is always going to be wiggling, even if it's sitting still. Let me show you how to work it. So one of the main things with a glide bait, you know, to start it off is going to be that cast. And you want to bomb that puppy out there as far as you can. One thing I like to do with this is actually as soon as it hits the water, I'll give it a 4 count. These baits are weighted to sink at a rate of about 1 foot a second. So I let that bait start to fall, and what you'll notice is it's got a really nice wobble as it falls. So you can see here, we've just got a ton of bait down there. These guys are topping out at 15. So I'm just gonna let that puppy sink, give it a good solid 10, 12 count. And then I'm gonna just start working it in nice and slow with some real erratic snaps. If I snap it real hard, I can envision that bait coming up. So I'm gonna let it sink back down a second or two. I wanna do anything I can to keep it right on top of all that bait. From my personal experience, I tend to run these baits a lot more erratic. I change up my cadence. Maybe I'll give it 1 hard pump and then I'll give it 3 or 4 quick snaps and really get that bait to run really unpredictably. It seems like that triggers a lot more bites for me, especially on big pike, but on those muskies as well. Now there are days where that consistent cadence is what they want. So you do have to experiment. You know, another way to work it, which is probably one of the more underrated ways, is just a straight retrieve. When you get on a high pressure body of water, or you know, it's just the fish are off, all you got to do is just reel it in slow and you'll get actually a lot of really good action out of that bait. It just kind of wanders side to side, super subtle. That big, you know, that big tail just keeps on flopping. It's super easy to use, so if you get somebody in the boat who's maybe not as comfortable working a glide bait, just tell them cast it out, sink it down 4 or 5 seconds, and then just start reeling it in. And the bait honestly does most of the work for you. You know, question I often get is, what size should I fish and when? And you know, there's always exceptions to the rule, but the rule of thumb for me is you start out smaller in the first part of the season. You know, the fry is just naturally smaller, your bait's naturally smaller in the spring, and then as the year progresses, that bait grows and those fish will tend to key on some of those bigger baits as well. So, you know, the first month of the season, I'll throw 4 inchers and 6 inchers. You know, come end of July, I'll step into that 7.5. And then for me, for sure, once September hits, I really throw a lot of the big stuff, a lot of the 10s. I just seem to see more fish that way and I seem to get bit more. So I know there's guys that throw a 6 inch all day, every day of the season. You know, that's as big as they go and as small as they go. You know, the Phantom Softail is a really good hybrid of lures. You get all the positives of a hard bait, good paint scheme, super durable. It holds up to those teeth, so you're gonna get many fish out of one bait, but you do get that constant enticing action that really only rubber can provide. One thing I like to do on my other baits is I actually like to vary the tail size. So this is our 10 inch. As you can see, this is gonna be the standard size tail. Fairly large, but it matches the body pretty well. I will actually take that same size bait and run a 6 inch tail on it. So I downsize it a little bit. I get a little bit better action out of the lure. It's just a little subtle tweak that I do, but I feel like it gives me a little bit of an advantage and I get a little bit better action out of my 10 inches, or at least what I'm looking for. Say a fish does come up, hit it, rips that tail off, not a big deal. What we've got underneath, and you can see how well they do hold on, what we've got underneath is a stainless pin, or on our 10s, it's a screw. All you gotta do is pick up a set of replacement tails, dab a super glue, clean some of the oil off on this tail and just press fit it right on there. It's gonna be good in about 5 minutes and you're ready to rock. So when that tail does come off, you will wanna make sure that that tail is running in the way that it was in the package. With the curl coming up, that will impact how that bait runs. There are guys that do run it down, but that's our standard way of doing it, and that's what's gonna give you the most consistent action. You know, and another feature that's gonna come standard on all Phantoms is gonna be this small little brass insert right in the belly of the bait. What that insert's for is so you can purchase our weight kits and actually thread in lead weights to achieve different depths. So it just screws in, snug it up so it doesn't wobble loose. And there you go. You've got a bait that's going to increase the sink rate. This is 3/8 ounce. It's going to increase that sink rate by about 4 inches a second. So you can run it deeper, it's gonna stay deeper, you can run it faster, and it won't lift up on you if you really pick up that speed. Great little addition to make this bait even more versatile. So whether you're a beginner or you've been doing this since you were a baby, Phantom lures are easy to work. You can figure it out. It's a lot of fun, super versatile. It'll definitely help you put some fish in the boat.